Drip's like, start the show, Jeep.
Start the show!
I'm doing it right now. Pressing the button. 3, 2, 1.
Hang on, I gotta eat.
Oh, Drip, I pressed the button. No.
Hold on.
No. Okay, I stopped it. You really, you done did this to me, Drip?
I'm good. I'm ready.
You just wanted to shove more candy in your face? That's why we had to stop the show?
Before we started, yeah.
Oh, you f***ing piece of shit.
Come on, man. It's fun. Let's do this. It's gonna be fun.
Keeping all that in. It's all in.
Every single show. Zelda,
welcome, everyone, to the Stuff Your Candy in Your Face podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Jeep, and with me is Social Media Gaming. We record this podcast live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you shove candy into your mouth. You can also watch our podcast as a members-only podcast once a month. And once a month, this month, I said too many words. November 29th, guys. The last Friday this month, November 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern is when we're going to do our spoiler review of Echoes of Wisdom, guys. It's going to be super fun, whether Drip comes or not.
Now, I'm going to be there because I'm almost done with the game. I'm almost done. And we're gonna do our review on that game. We'll do it for members only, and then at a later date we'll release it to the mainstream public here. But you guys get it for an exclusive amount of time for sure. I'll probably not gonna be till next year, or like at the earliest during Christmas. Maybe we'll release it during Christmas or something while we're away. But yeah, it'll be like a real episode just for members only. So hopefully you guys are there. If you're not a member, links are in the description. And yeah, become a member.
Drip. Why'd you decide to rush me into the intro and then say, hold on, I need to shove candy in my face?
You know how things happen in my head fast. So, I decided the show needed to be starting, but I also decided like 2 seconds later when I looked down that I needed to eat the rest of that candy before the show started, so I wasn't eating candy while we were doing the show. Well, so
I'm gonna eat candy right now to make you have to talk while I eat candy, just for your dumb mistake. I can't get it out.
You know what? I'll eat candy too.
We can't both eat candy.
We'll just chomp. I don't care.
We can't both
these
eat
are
candy.
Tiny. Look at those are tiny gummy bears. Look how tiny those are.
They're little babies.
No. Anyway, we're good. We're here. It's great. We got lots of fun stuff to talk about. Week off last week. Investors meeting was very telling, I think, in and where Nintendo's going, and how this is going to be going to the next couple months, and how they're going to release games, new systems, how they're going to be going about a lot of things. I think the way that they presented what they presented to the investors says a whole lot. We're going to go over all that. But there's one thing we have to talk about before that, Jeeb, and I'm not allowed to say it, so you're going to have to.
Are you not allowed to talk about the
I'm not allowed to say it.
Are you not allowed to talk about the Apple Podcast review of the week? Is that what you're not allowed to talk about?
Oh no, I can talk about that. I can totally talk about that.
Can you talk about the fact that we haven't got a review since September?
I could talk about that, but I'd rather not. I'd rather talk about the game that I'm not allowed to say because I lost a bet because it didn't come to Switch. But it sounds like
we need to plug it, because again, if we don't talk about it every show, people aren't going to leave reviews. So please, guys, because I know you don't like our show enough to just leave one without us. I know that we're not great podcasters, so you can't leave a review unless we beg. But here we go. I'm going to beg. I'm begging. Here I go. Do you have any sad music? Any begging music?
No,
it's going to get us banned on music. Please, please, people in the audience.
I don't really have any sad music.
Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, because without that, I get really sad. And it's been September 17th. It's been almost 3 months since we have a review. And I just want a review. Pretty please. Also noting as well.
We lost last year. It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We did lose. Thank you, Kat. We've lost last year. I forgot I made that one.
Oh yeah, I just brought them all back, man. They're back.
Perfect.
Made my desktop look shitty again and everything.
If we seem a little bit scatterbrained and probably not that great at our job, it's probably been because we missed last week. So we want to apologize to especially our audio listeners last week. I know for audio people, it affects them differently because we become a part of your commute, a part of your daily routine. If like you listen to us on every Thursday morning, you didn't listen to us this week unless you went back for an old one, which if you did, thank you very much. But yeah, so sorry about that. We missed last week. hopefully you enjoyed some other content that we have posted. Because we at this point we have our YouTube says we have 597 videos on YouTube.
Damn.
And our
Killing it,
Spotify or Apple or whatever the hell it's called. Our podcast host says we have like almost 200 episodes now. So like we've been doing it, man. We've been doing it.
Yeah, we have.
Just not last week. So sorry about that.
Not last week. All right, enough plug-in shit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the game that supposedly is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm. What game is that, Drew?
Leaked.
What game?
I can't say the name of it, but it leaked. Oh, it's leaked.
So
it's leaked.
I'll tell you, everybody. So I don't have any pictures or anything. I don't think it's necessary. But on the internet, apparently, Wind Waker HD once again has been brought up into the conversation here of should it be coming to Switch or can it be coming to Switch? Because apparently here, a Russian retailer, and I don't know the name of the Russian retailer, but it does not matter. A Russian retailer, which you'd mentioned me before, they don't work with Nintendo because of what reason?
No, Nintendo doesn't do business with anyone in Russia because of the war stuff. So
there you go. So another little nail in its coffin. But so a Russian retailer posts on its website.
I mean, you can get stuff in Russia, but you have to like get it from somebody else. You can't get it from Nintendo.
Correct. So,
but
yeah, so they posted on their retail website that on December 31st, 2024, which is very clearly a placeholder date.
A placeholder date, yes.
That the Wind Waker HD for Nintendo Switch is releasing. And the internet decided to take and this information and run. And the first thing I'd like to point out, thank you
Mm-hmm.
RGT for kind of, just giving us the information as well, because I watched this video for it. This Russian retailer has this image of the game art image. It's very clearly just, a copy paste and a bad cut job of the official artwork for the game.
It looks like the one I've stolen offline to use in a thumbnail. I think it's the same one.
Yeah, and they didn't do a good job. They even cut off one of the characters halfway, and there's like weird artifacting on the
it's
thing.
not.
It's like they didn't even do a good job faking it. Like,
this is not real. It's not real.
What is the purpose of this? Like, what do they think? What traction? First of all, they did get traction.
It could just be it could be an honest mistake. Honestly, it could be a miscommunication. Because I mean, okay, I did watch. You put that RGT video in our notes. I did watch that. He brought up something I thought is kind of important in this too. It's happened in other places too, big places, Best Buy, Amazon. You've seen this happen where they put up stuff that's not even announced, not even real at all, and everyone gets crazy about it and nothing happens. So it could just be some weird mistake. Somebody was maybe being funny, or it could be 100,000 different things. You don't really know, but this isn't real. This means nothing.
This is really meaningless, to be honest with you guys. Like it's this. I know that's the purpose of me bringing this up.
Yeah, it's
tonight.
fun. It's fun, but I do think this game is coming to the Switch, though. I do, especially now, and this is going to kind of segue us into the rest of the show. Now that we know Nintendo's plans and everything that they've told us over the last week and a half, I really do think now that game is coming. I don't think it has anything to do with that. Right. Zero to do with that. But I think this is the one game, especially now that we see Xenoblade Chronicles X coming. And we know we're not getting an announcement of the Switch 2 this year. We're way too far in now. Not happening. It's going to be January, February, or March. So they're going to have a little bit of time in between. There's going to be time to get another one of those games out. And if you're going to do one of the Zeldas, Wind Waker's probably that one if you're going to put it on a system that's not... Oh, I didn't say it.
Drip? No, I'm going to say your full... Christopher Starcher. How dare you? We're going to make the internet decide what we do to you for that. But
I didn't mean to.
I know. It doesn't matter.
Either way.
Moving on.
Of the two.
Yeah.
This is the one that could come to the Switch. This one makes more sense to come to this version of the Switch.
Yeah.
It doesn't need more power. You know what I mean? This is the one that can come on here and be like perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
It can run exactly how it did on the Wii U or a little better and be fine. It can be perfect. And then take it to Switch 2 or whatever it is, and it'll run the same, better, whatever. The other game that I'm not allowed to say, that would be the one to wait.
Twilight Princess.
Yes, that would be the one to wait. and do on Switch 2, and maybe even do more to.
That game needs it deserves.
It does. The textures it does. But I do think it's going to come to Switch now. That first one we talked about, which you can say and I can't.
Wind Waker.
Just because of what Nintendo talked about at their investors meeting last week. They said
let's segue directly into the investors meeting, because that's going to be a nice little bulk of our show here.
That is the show. There's so much here. And I think the biggest thing about all of this is just, it's the package, okay? Let me kind of explain this.
Sure.
Because I've got a big tinfoil hat about how they're going to do everything now.
Did you say tinfoil hat?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I don't have it.
I'm leaving.
I don't have it.
Good.
I have a flash drive
I feel
with
like,
a USB-C converter on it. Yeah, it's fine.
I feel like they really packaged this whole thing as a celebration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had so many slides of like, look at these gigantic numbers. Look at every single thing that we've done over the Switch's life. They've packaged it all so nicely here. And if you would, Jeeb, can you bring some of that up? Because
I happily could, sir.
I got a lot to talk about here.
Happily could. But here's the question, George. Do I remember what button it is? Because it's been like 3
I
weeks.
don't know if you do or not, but I want you to start on page 5. We'll start at the beginning. We're not going to take a lot of time on these because I want to get to the later stuff, the juicy
button.
stuff.
No, not that button.
And Jeeb, if you have any questions going forward, that's the sponsor button.
I would love to.
Go ahead and go to page 5. We did get this information, which is easy. I mean,
you're not here.
Easy to know. First thing we're going to know about this, the one thing that everybody's kind of curious about, I'm sure, is how much the Switch has sold in its life. And we're up to 146 million units, which is a ton.
That is a lot of units.
Ton. It's an absolute shit ton. 1.3 billion units of software. 1.3 billion units.
I'm sorry, sir. What page were you on?
Second. I'm on page 5.
Thank you.
Oh, am I not up?
Yeah, I got distracted because it's broken, but we'll fix it at a different time. It's fine.
Okay, that's fine. All right. That's basic information. That's not the fun stuff. It is cool to see that we've come that far. Not quite to 150 million, but I think at this point, now that we know we're not getting this thing announced this year and all the other stuff that they talked about with this, we're going to hit 150 million with this thing. It's going to be the best. Well,
150 is that a milestone or just a nice round number?
That's just a round number. I don't know exactly what it is.
PlayStation 2 is the leading one.
PlayStation 2 and DS are the only thing it has to pass, and I don't know what those exact numbers are.
I'm gonna find out right now.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna move down. I mean, they did talk about some other stuff here that's not really that important. They talked about the products they have for the holiday season, which is, the Zelda game we're playing now, Mario Party Jamboree, Mario and Luigi Brothership, and then they have the 2 Switch OLEDs they have this year. I actually like. They have one bundle with Mario Wonder and then one bundle with Mario Kart. Either one of those is great. And then of course they have the Switch Lite, the gold Switch Lite. Moving on, they had a little slide. If you could put up the slide on page 8, they started talking about titles that they have coming from other developers. The big one there, I mean, you can see Lego Horizon. That's a big one. Sonic, that one's out, right?
Yeah. Well, where is it down here? So let's just make sure.
Sonic, Shadows, Generation.
Shadows Generation, yep.
Yeah, okay. And then, I mean, there's a bunch of other ones here. None of them are like...
Pokemon Pizza? Gotta mention Pokemon Pizza.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
No.
We're on no, you're looking at titles for 2025.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm on third-party stuff.
There we go, third-party stuff. Yes, so Sonic's here.
Dragon Quest HD 2, whatever that is. I mean, there's stuff coming. That's fine. Whatever. That's cool. You go down. Yeah, now here we got Pokemon Legends coming. Like, this is the 2025 stuff. And they got a decent amount of stuff. Not all of it's, like, huge. But they've got some stuff. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was, like, a crazy drop. I mean, they've got a nice little lineup. Obviously, Metroid Prime 4. We got a trailer for that. We know that's coming 2025.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some cool stuff there. So we're doing okay, but that's all stuff we would, like, expect them to be talking about at this time of year. This is where things start to get interesting. They go into the current state of Nintendo Switch, and it's kind of things they've done before, so it's not like super crazy. But they're talking about Nintendo Switch being played by over 100 million people worldwide, steady stream of new titles planned for the holiday season and upcoming year. So we know that they're going to continue to support the Switch, not a surprise. If you go down to page 11, I mean, you can just see the net sales and like what they've got going. I mean, it's absolute insanity what they have going on with sales. Still not the most interesting part of all this. A little bit more right here. Structural changes surrounding our dedicated video game platform business. That is very interesting because do you remember, I've probably been saying this for, I don't know, what, 2-3 years now, that we've got a whole new regime here at Nintendo.
Correct.
New people running the show. And right here, this is where we're actually starting to see it. They're talking about the changes that they're making surrounding, the platform. They basically have 4 pillars of this, which I thought were very interesting. Merging the 2 platforms, we already knew that one. Obviously, they got the 3DS and the Wii U and bumped them into the Switch.
Yeah.
So that was done. Very good idea, clearly. Clearly that worked for them. Emphasis on consumer touch points, which we'll get to here in a little bit. They have a whole thing about all these, which is really nice. And that's the whole reason I want to really talk about this stuff, because they have packaged this entire presentation in a way that they have not done before. They've not done this before. So I we usually don't go into this much detail of these, but I feel like this one we really need to. And I'm going to have a point here once we get to the end. Okay. Strengthening relationships with software publishers. That is huge. That's something they had a big problem with the Wii U, and we see with the Switch, everybody wants on board, which is great. Third-party games coming to Switch 2, they're already on Switch 1. More people want to be on Switch 2. It's going to have more power. That's great. Regional expansion to grow in growing markets, also great. All right, so then they got these touch points here. You go down to page 14.
Yep.
I mean, they're basically just showing, like, you had your Zeldas, your Mario parties, your this and that on this, Pokemon's down here on the handhelds. You got them all together, which was a great idea, a fantastic idea. Because if you go down to the next slide, this is nuts. This is nuts. Okay, if you look at this on page 15, that is the first party titles from Nintendo every year of the system.
If you're listening to this podcast,
there's at least 12 on every year. You had basically one a month every single year almost.
So the one that I see the least in
2017.
2017. And there was 9.
It didn't come out until March.
9 releases in 2017.
Right.
I would say
so you basically got the last 9 months of the year.
The next least would be 2020, and that still had 9 if you include Mario Home Circuit, the Nintendo, the physical like racing car game thing, which was awesome, which is still games, and I think counts if you include that, which you should. 9 games in that year, and that was a pandemic year where everything was like halted big time, and they still put out 9 games that year.
Yeah, including Animal Crossing: New Horizons, which is one of their best-selling games.
Not to mention, that might be their biggest year because they had the best-selling game on the system.
Oh my god,
well,
yeah, it was
the
nuts.
Second best-selling game on the system.
Yeah,
next to Mario Kart.
So, crazy, absolutely nuts. One of my guys in my band.
It's crazy to look at visually, especially if you guys are listening.
To put out that many names, well,
it's visually striking.
A lot of people don't even realize that because we're people who follow this stuff. But like one of my buddies in the band was talking about, Nintendo just doesn't put out enough games. We were practicing one day, and I was thinking in my head, like, what the fuck you mean they don't put out enough games? They put out like a game a month. Like, tell me one other company that puts out. You don't see Ubisoft putting out a game a month. You don't see anybody. Nobody does that. EA doesn't do that. Nobody does that.
Let's make it even. What should be an even comparison. Let's find Sony's and Microsoft's first party games.
Oh God,
coming out
we don't even
month.
need to look at that.
I mean, it's a joke.
Sony hasn't put one out this year,
and they're not gonna. They said they weren't.
I mean, okay. I mean, they got what? Lego Horizon?
It's a Lego. It's not
whatever.
Sony, though. It's matter. Lego made the game, not Sony. And Sony had nothing to do with it besides their IP.
Is it a WB? WB makes all the Lego games. Did they make that game?
I don't know who made it. I just know that Sony's not making Lego games. That's all I know.
Okay. Either way, that's very, very impressive. It's very impressive. They're showing, putting the two together was clearly a good idea. They go into a little bit of stuff about how they, they marketed the Switch as Not really a one per family, just more of a one per person type thing to get more than one in households, which was also very smart. I mean, I can speak for myself and you. I have well over one Switch in my house.
I was just thinking about this. I think I've owned 4, maybe 5 Nintendo Switches. I don't currently own that many because I'm not a psychopath like Johnny.
Yeah, I don't have that many now.
But I mean, they've come in this house, they've gone, I've resold, I've gifted.
I'm trying to think. How many have I had? I had my original.
Oh, you've had way more.
I had my
than me.
Lite.
Yeah.
I had the Animal Crossing. I had the Monster Hunter. I had the both Zeldas.
I've had 5.
The Pokemon Lite. What am I missing? Splatoon. What else?
Well, you didn't have the Splatoon system. You just had the Splatoon Joy-Cons.
I had the Joy-Cons.
That doesn't count.
Well, no, I have the system too. I still have that. I don't have the dock. It's the only thing I don't have.
I thought you just bought the Joy-Con.
I did, but I ended up buying the tablet too.
Oh, okay.
That's the one my daughter uses. She has a
right.
Switch.
Yep.
Yeah. Then the pink one, and then I had oh my god, dude. Okay, that one. Yeah, I've had like 12 Switches.
I've had 5. I've gifted a couple. I've sold. Did I sell any? I might have sold 1. I know I've gifted 2, and I still have 2. Abby has her Zelda one, and I have just a regular OLED tablet. So yeah, I mean that's right. That's more normal than you, but it's still a lot. I mean that's a lot of systems. I've also been lucky enough because our community is awesome. Mainly Coca Baby, who's been like the GOAT in our community as far as getting people Switches at good prices. He's the GOAT.
It's true.
Without him, the only system we bought brand new was the Zelda one. Other than that, all 4 of the other one. Well, okay, the other 3 of those came from Coca Baby at very, very fair prices.
Yeah, so everybody's got lots of Switches. That clearly worked. Nintendo has done a lot of really, really smart things. As much as we talk shit on them and get pissed off at them for the dumb shit they do, they have done a lot of really smart things. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is on page 17. I just want
to quickly shout out and thank N64 Joss for stop by for a second. He's got his podcast over there, Communication Era Boys. But what's that about? The Nintendo Powercast. Guys, go check that one out. Thank you, Josh. Thanks for coming in, man.
So on page 17, emphasis on consumer touch points. This is also something I find very interesting that they've done. They have, I don't know about your local, I don't know, Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, but they didn't used to have such a presence in store.
Are you talking prior Switch or?
Yeah. They didn't have like an area. You know what I mean?
It's hard.
Not like they do now.
It's hard for me to remember, honestly, because
okay.
I mean, I think so if I to think about how it is now compared to my past, the only thing I can think of is like back in the 90s and 2000s when Game Boy was a thing. And there was a good section for the Game Boy. Like if I think it's about Toys R Us, like there was a
I know somebody told me that they have
Game Boy games
in
and
Best
systems.
Buys. In Best Buys and stuff, I was told that like someone comes in, a Nintendo representative comes in and builds those displays and those shelves and things. Like they have their people who go in and do that.
Yep.
Which is a great idea. I love that.
That's why it's really hard to get a hold of like the kiosks and like different things that Nintendo has at those displays. It's hard to get your hands on them because
they bring them in.
They bring them in. They take them out.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing is they really kind of lean into the digital purchases, which it makes it way easier on people to get stuff. And if you go down, we can skip some of the touch point stuff here. I do want to go down to we can stop here on page 21. 34 million members to the online and expansion pack. That's not just online. That's online and expansion pack.
That's a number that
I believe.
That's a number that I would like to know, and I'm glad that I know it now. That is a lot of people.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't be plus expansion pack. I guess that's just people with the online or with the expansion pack. Yeah. Either way, 34 million people. That's a nice chunk. That's a nice chunk of people who have their online service, which I still will argue, whether you like it or not, is the best deal for online in gaming. Still is.
I agree. Sorry. I agree 100%. I mean, damn.
Like, I know. I have a PlayStation.
I have a PlayStation now, and I don't have any interest outside of multiplayer stuff to buy that service. Although there is some good deals, some good games. I just don't really. I'm not interested in that very much.
Yeah.
Xbox has Game Pass. good deal, but like only if you like the games that they provide, and that
Right.
changes every month. So it's like month to month. It's
Well,
not.
I mean, Xbox
a guarantee. Nintendo's the only one where it's like every month I guarantee. Well, not you don't even pay month, you pay yearly, but every month you're guaranteed to enjoy what Nintendo has.
And it's like
something.
half the
There's
price.
something
It's
there.
like half the price, man.
and that too. Of course, the price is just they nailed it.
Yeah, it's good. I don't care what anybody says. It's good. They got 34 million people in there now, that's impressive. And we're going to talk more about that. This whole presentation, they just really, really nailed this. I'm very, very impressed with
I would have
everything
liked
they
to
put
be
in
a
this.
fly on the wall for that meeting.
Yeah. I wouldn't have understood anything that was being said, but I sure would have
good
liked to
point.
have been there. It was all in Japanese, but sure would have liked to have been there.
Do they have translators for the other speaking people?
I don't know because I wasn't a fly on the wall. Don't know. No idea. Next page, 22. They did talk about how they are emphasizing the consumer touch points, adding stuff to the online with the Nintendo Music,
baby.
Yeah, okay, good. They're gonna add to whatever. I'm not getting into that argument with you again. It's fine.
They've already added more stuff, by the way, and they added more Zelda.
So happy, so happy for
should
that. Okay, the other thing that if you go down to page 23 here, that is very interesting. The online sales, the digital sales trends, and if you look like year to year, it is staggering where it's come from in 2017 to where it is now. It is crazy.
I think you can highlight 2019 to 2021.
To 2020 is
that
the
range.
big, yeah.
That
that
whole range,
jump.
though, because I kind of include 2020 and 2021 as the same kind of year, because both there was stuff that happened in 2021 that was going to happen in 2020, and whatever. So, but 19 to 21 is like the big. If you look at that, because it's
a massive jump.
The year before COVID and the year after COVID,
started,
after this,
kind of started
look
to
at that.
dissipate
Again,
out,
if you're watching, if you're listening, let me just explain. 1.18 was that million? 118
yes.
million. So that's a scale of a million, and we're talking.
Oh no. This is money. They're talking money here.
Okay.
Yen.
Yeah. So 118 billion with a B.
It says BN yen. So I'm guessing it's billion yen.
So sorry, guys. 118 billion yen, and
It's
then
very small, but
and then to 334 billion yen in 2021. I know it's 2 years, but again, COVID. So we're
well, that's where it happened.
that's where the huge thing happened. COVID was a big reason for this trend to continue. But it stayed there. It stayed there. And not only stayed there, it rose past 2021. It kept rising every single year.
And if you look here, so the blue part of this is actual digital games. The yellow or orange part there is like online service,
expansion pack.
Or like they have what's the Kirby's Dream Buffet? It's an online only game. You can only buy it online, so it's the only way to get it. It's crazy how much that stuff went up too.
And DLC,
DLCs, things like that. That's nuts. It's crazy to really see how far we've come from the beginning of the Switch and digital sales to digital sales. Now that's
and the beginning we didn't say because for people listening, the beginning 2017. The Switch only sold 32 billion yen only, but 32 billion yen. So I know if you don't know the conversion from yen to dollars, we don't either. But I know that yen is a lot more. Like $1 is like 100 yen or something. Like something.
Yeah,
like, something
I don't know
like
what it
that.
is.
It's like 100. Yeah. So you're like divided by 100, and you're in the ballpark of like the realm of understanding for us Americans. So
so then they go on after that. They're starting to talk about strengthening relationships with software publishers, which is huge for the future. That's huge because they fucked everything up with the Wii U. They had a gigantic deal with EA that EA basically backed out on because Nintendo didn't sell any consoles. And if you go down to page 25 here, you see a list of some of those strengthened relationships. 505 Games, we got Atlas, Capcom, Bandai Namco. I mean, there's big ones,
Koei Tecmo has done a couple things with Nintendo, including the Zelda Warriors.
Yeah, and they'll continue to do those. I mean, Konami's on there.
Square Enix.
Yeah, I mean, the one that really stands out to me, and there's lots. Yeah, Square Enix,
Sega.
THQ Nordic. I mean, Microsoft, they're all on here.
There's a lot.
Microsoft is the one that sticks out to me. To put that on here says a lot about the future and what's going to be happening. I mean, we know already Microsoft owns Call of Duty now. So they've already made a deal as part of the
They've already told
part
us.
of the whole buy. Yeah, it's part of the whole buyout that they are required to put Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms and PlayStation platforms for the next 10 years. So we know that is happening. But the fact that they're on here like that, I feel like we're going to, and especially with what Microsoft's doing, I feel like we're really going to start seeing some stuff as soon as we get a more powerful system where it can, actually do what it needs to do and be playable. We're probably going to see some cool stuff.
I bet you Microsoft
hey, Epic Games right there. We're going to get a way better version of Fortnite on the Switch too, right, Jeeb?
We will.
Right?
I bet you that I bet you they're waiting for Nintendo because Microsoft they've already told us they've already done some of their games moving over to other systems, including Nintendo and PlayStation. I bet you they're waiting for the Switch too, so that way they can just drop some of this stuff. Like there's big ones.
Yeah.
They got big stuff there with Halo, as Adam brings up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see that.
Oh, no, we will. No, we will. Because one of the biggest problems with Halo is they can't freaking sell it, Drip. Nobody wants to buy it because they've done such a bad job with it.
They've just shown all the stuff and they're redoing everything. And
so if you guys weren't familiar, Halo just did a thing recently. How they're changing their name. 343 Studios is changing to Halo Studios, and they're taking Halo way more seriously, trying to bring back people like me who played the old Halos and lost touch with the new games because they lost touch with Halo. So
that's what
they're making strides with Halo. I guarantee you're going to be playing Halo on a PS5, and you're going to be playing Halo on a Switch. I guarantee.
Maybe.
Whether I don't know about the new Halos. I don't know if the new Halos is gonna be able to run on the Switch 2. That seems like it's gonna be far out enough where the Switch 2 is gonna be old at that point.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna be. It's not gonna be a series.
But old Halos
X and S game.
Old Halos. Are coming to the Switch.
I mean, obviously
they're coming. Well, it's not obvious.
Those
it's not
could
obvious,
run.
but
no, I mean not that they're coming, but they could run on this next one. I'm sure
the old ones could 1,000% can run. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on here. Another thing I'm going to touch on quick. Same thing, but they're just talking about all their indie partners, which we know the Switch has been an indie game monster, a machine.
Yeah, dude. A
it's
machine
the
is
place
correct.
to play. Yeah, it's the place to play indie games for sure. We don't need to stick with that. I mean, we can see here again. This is interesting though. Packaged software for the Nintendo Switch. So if you see here, about half, and I'm on page 27.
Okay.
About half of the software sold on the Switch is third party.
That's crazy.
So as much as we say, it's probably better to play it somewhere else, half the games sold on the Nintendo Switch are third party games.
It wasn't always the case. Like I would make an argument.
No, you can see, you can see it wasn't like that forever. But like, look at 2021 to 2024, even 2020. Like what's more impressive about that is in those early years, you would think you would see more because we weren't dealing with PlayStation 5 and
right. I would
Xbox.
have thought
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would have thought the opposite of this chart. This chart shows that by 2021, 2022, 2023, and so on, those, it rose exponentially. Like third-party sales of digital software rose exponentially from the first few years. And the first few years, we didn't have the Steam Deck. We didn't have the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S. We didn't have those consoles. So third-party stuff was really viable to play on the Switch, I would say, up until 2021. After 2021, there was really no point.
The Steam Deck. That's when the Steam Deck came out and like all the other stuff. But that's crazy because that's when it went up.
Right. And actually, something interesting to note here, Drip, on this chart, you see one thing that I see, first-party sales have gone down.
Slightly. But yeah, if you look back at sales in general,
first-party digital game sales have gone down since it's slight, but since 2021 they've gone down. And
this isn't digital. This is just sales.
Oh, this is sales. I thought this was digital.
No, this isn't digital. Software.
Oh.
Yeah, this is software in general.
So Nintendo software is gone down. But we're talking like very small. And overall, it's only been going down since 2022, and we all predicted that because they were supposed to have a new fucking console in 2021.
Yeah, I mean
that's when they were supposed. Their new console was supposed to be,
crazy
or at least the Switch Pro.
It's not like it was just a fall off though. It's not like they've fallen off a cliff. Look at this; it's slight.
No.
It's ever so slight. They're still killing it. All right, moving on. Yeah, they're moving into other markets. We know about that. We don't have to spend a lot of time on that. That is good. That's going to help them out in the long run, especially with what seems to be their plan. This is interesting. The regional expansion, it shows a little chart there. I mean, that's insane. From 2017 to 2024. Right there. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Earnings, we don't really need to go. I mean, whatever. That's cool. They're making a bunch of money. Good job, guys. You're killing it. Good job. Okay. This is where I think we get into to some interesting stuff. Okay. Now they're talking about expanding the number of people who have access to Nintendo IPs. That's going to be about the same thing we're talking about up there. But right here is when they start talking about the strength of Nintendo IPs.
Yeah.
When you're talking your Marios, your Donkey Kongs, your Zelda, Animal Crossing.
Mario, 42 million units. And what is it? What is this time frame?
That's the life,
Forever?
I believe.
Oh yeah, this is lifetime. So 42 million Odyssey 3D World Mario stuff. 42 million. Mario Kart alone, not included in the Mario stuff.
64 million. That's absolutely insane.
Units.
Absolutely insane.
So okay. I understand now. Let me correct myself. 42 million units is 3D Mario games. And yes, Nintendo defines 3D World as 3D. So shut the fuck up, people.
Oh, it says 3D in the name.
It's 2D, 3. It's 2.5D. It's 3D.
It doesn't matter. Moving on.
Mario
2D
Kart 64.
41 million units for 2D Marios.
That's wonderful.
Mario Parties, as much as G bitches about Mario Party, 34 million fucking units.
People, stop it. Stop
Why
buying
do you hate Mario? Why do you hate Mario Party so much?
Party.
You hate it.
We're going back to school.
Listen,
hold on.
You hate it. You hate Mario. You hate Mario Party. Just say it.
Hold on, Dre.
Just say it.
Hold on. You shut the fuck up and I'll say it, okay? I love Mario Party. I love Mario Party so fucking much. Here's the thing. You play one Mario Party. You played every Mario Party.
Not true.
It's fucking true. And I love a new game. Don't get me wrong. I'll buy the new Mario Party. I did it twice, okay? The first one...
Did you buy the new one?
The first one bit me in the fucking ass because it was only the fucking... I'm saying the F word. I'm sorry. The motion control. It was the motion control Mario Party, and that sucked. They burnt me on that one. I bought it for my nephew. He never wanted to play it again. Oh, by the way, we couldn't play it because they didn't make online multiplayer. And then they sold us multiplayer in a $60 brand new fucking game. So that made
hold
me...
on. To be fair...
You don't hold... No. You let me finish.
They gave us online right before they announced that game.
I'll mute your ass. I'm going to finish.
They gave us online.
So they withheld online multiplayer during fucking COVID when we couldn't go see our family, and they said, "Oh, you want multiplayer? Well, here, $60, bitches." And then
that's not true. They put it in the game.
They put it in the game 3 months before they released the new game, which made me really angry. So you really expect me to spend $180 on Mario Party? Now, granted, this Mario Party is the best Mario Party they've ever put out. I recognize that, but that's fucking infuriating because they put two others out that were mediocre in comparison, and one I couldn't even play. I couldn't play it because we were stuck inside during COVID and we couldn't play multiplayer online. I bought the game and never touched it, and I couldn't resell it because it was digital.
Done? Mario Party, 34 million units. Moving on. Animal Crossing. Perfect time to put that out.
46 million?
46 million. Smash, 35 million.
Yep.
Zelda,
3D Zeldas,
53 million.
Hell yeah. That is dude, that is the second highest number here next to Mario Kart.
Well, hold on a second. 26 million for Splatoon.
So we got
so
so far.
Yeah. Then we go down. Then make sure you put this up.
I was talking over Splatoon. Shout out to Splatoon. 26 million
26
units
million.
sold
That's not,
of the
that's
two
good.
Splatoons.
Yeah, pop this up on screen. Pokemon.
Oh, they can't see it. I'm sorry, guys. Let me change it over.
Pokemon. 99 million units on the Switch.
Now,
that is
to be fair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9 games. So it's
I don't care.
That average is 10 million a game, which if you think about it, isn't that impressive. But it's still impressive. by every
But
standard.
when you think about it, really, most people bought only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 9.
Yeah, 5 of those games make up the bulk. Like Pikachu,
Yeah.
the Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee sold a lot, but not that much in comparison to Arceus, Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, and everyone freaking hated Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, okay. Either way, 99 million. That is absolutely insane. Like that is mind-blowing numbers. That's crazy.
And that's
crazy.
This is not slander, but that's not Nintendo. I mean, that's Pokemon. That's their own thing.
Yeah. Okay,
so
that's
like,
fine.
They literally sit, to me, they sit in both categories of they are Nintendo and they aren't Nintendo. And in this regard, I don't really look at them as Nintendo. I look at them as the Pokemon franchise, not Nintendo.
Well,
so I exclude that. I would only to bump up Zelda as the second best-selling franchise on the Switch.
I mean, that's
for the arguments of this conversation.
53 million. That's good. All right, so pop this back up so they can see. Yep. Go down to the next page. This is a big one. I think this is very important, and this is really cool. You see these 4 franchises that were very, very niche franchises before the Switch.
Can you read them?
I can read them. The first one's Pikmin. You're going from about 1.7 million units to 7.8 million units on the Switch. And this is Wii U and 3DS titles combined.
If you'd like to do some math, people at home, that is roughly, not exactly, but roughly 7 times the sales.
Yeah, so let's move on to Kirby. I mean, Kirby was selling a little more, 5.6 million, 15 million.
Slightly less impressive, 3 times the sales of the Wii U.
Yeah, 15 million on the Switch.
Excellent.
Metroid, less than 1 million. Made it to almost 5 million on the Switch. That's impressive.
And that was from Dread. That was a combination of Dread, obviously, and Metroid Prime Remastered, which honestly is a shame that sold as little as it did in comparison to the rest of the
And I got to be honest, this last one's not really that impressive considering how many games they put out on the Switch.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles, there's every game except for X, which is coming.
Well, they haven't sold X yet, so that number's going to grow. That number's actually going to grow.
It will. They got up to 7 million. I figured it would be a lot more. The way people talk, the Xenoblade fans just really love Xenoblade.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, they could say something about Zelda fans, but it's interesting, Drip. So. It's interesting, Drip, that it's. I actually forgot what I was going to say, so I'm not going to say it.
Oh, that is very interesting.
It's
Moving
very
on.
Interesting. No, I thought I had it and I didn't. Never mind. Sorry. Development and release of software that utilizes the characteristics of each IP. We talking about that?
Yeah. Let's move on down from that.
Okay.
Basically, they're utilizing their IP. This is kind of where I wanted to go. With what we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
They're moving into the visual content, which is obviously the movies. We got theme parks, merchandise, mobile, which is mobile's going, and they're doing some things. We'll see. They got that new Animal Crossing thing that they took away and now brought back as just a $10 game instead of a microtransaction game, which I think is actually cool.
That's a plus.
Yeah. I mean, we got the Mario movie. We got the Mario movie 2, we know is in the works. And we got the Zelda movie, which we can see down here if you go down to the next slide here on 39. We had the Mario Brothers movie. 2026, they've got Mario Brothers 2. And then 2020X, we've got The Legend of Zelda coming out.
That's my favorite year.
It's 2020X. I don't know when that is, but it's going to be great.
Well, can't confirm now. The movie's coming out in this this decade.
Yeah,
can't confirm.
The next 5 years. That's cool.
Yeah.
I bet I do. I'll put a little something out here. I know we'll probably do.
I'm sorry, Drip. Let me just say this. Not to mention theme parks.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
I do want to just put this out. We're probably going to do our Game Awards predictions of what we're going to see as far as announcements and stuff.
Yes.
I do believe this is the year we get something from Nintendo, and I think it's going to be that Zelda movie. Not a trailer, but an announcement of who's playing who. I think we're going to get a cast announcement at the Game Awards this year.
You think so?
I think so.
We didn't get that last year.
I think it's time.
They waited to the year. They waited to 2024, or no, I'm sorry. That would be 2023, right? They waited to. I don't know. I'm speaking on my ass. Never mind. Forget it.
Well, they gave us the cast of the Mario movie.
It was not
in a direct.
Yeah, it was in a direct.
It was in a direct.
It was in its own.
I feel like
direct.
we're gonna get it. No, it was not. Not the cast announcement. It was in a direct. The movie trailer had its own direct. The cast announcement was in a direct.
Okay.
Moving on. Super Nintendo World. We just got a direct. What was it? Yesterday, day before, whenever it was, showing up the new Donkey Kong Land that's opening in Japan, which looks awesome. It's opening on December 11th. I know that because that is one of my children's birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's cool. Probably not going to go to Japan to hit that up on her birthday, but it's going to be cool. Mobile apps, it is what it is. We're not going to spend time on that. Nope. Official stores. This is another thing where they're talking about consumer touch points, like
this is very
doing stores and stuff.
This is very much for their shareholders. This is not something anybody really cares about here.
And I really wish they do more. I wish they would put more Nintendo stores places. Like I want to go to the one in New York so bad. Then they touched on the museum, which is cool. Very cool. Again, it's in Japan. Probably not going to hit that up anytime soon. Looks cool though.
Yes. Where Nintendo emulates their software and also sues people for emulating their software.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, we're going down to like page, let's just say 45 here. They're basically saying like all these things bring them back to the gaming system. Like we have all these touch points. Everybody can get more familiar with all these franchises, all these IPs, and then come play the games on Switch.
Can I say something, Drip? They're building. Yeah. They're making suckers of people. They're making suckers because of their movies, their theme parks, their merchandise, their mobile apps, and they're making suckers of them. So they're like Johnny Ebo, and they buy everything they ever do on the Nintendo Switch. It's great. It's a great idea. It's perfect marketing. It's perfect. If only if only they could market the eating the one chip challenge. If Nintendo did that, maybe Johnny would eat it. Nintendo branded one chip challenge. Maybe then Johnny would eat the chip.
Now, I want to kind of skip ahead here a little bit. I want to go down to page 48 where they talk about the Nintendo
Imagine a Mario
accounts.
Flavor. This just chip tastes like Mario and also death at the same time.
Jesus Christ.
He's going to eat it. He's going to eat at some point.
Yeah, well, he is at some point.
He better.
I don't know. At this point, who knows? Okay,
he's
seriously.
He cowered out.
We're getting to the end here. I'm going to make a point. Future outlook. This is where things start to get
soon. I'm getting restless.
Okay.
Dad, are we there yet?
Future outlook. Yes, we're getting there. The future. That's what I want to talk about. Now they start talking about how the Nintendo accounts are going to move over. They've already said this, so we knew this. The Nintendo accounts are going to move over to whatever the successor of the Nintendo Switch. Integrated hardware, software successor to Nintendo Switch is what they're calling it. Okay. Also, value-added services. So that basically means they're going to keep adding to the Nintendo Switch online service, which we have seen them do throughout this life of the Switch.
Translation, they're going to raise the price.
Yeah, probably. They're probably going to raise the price eventually. I would say with the next system will probably come a raise in price of the online service. Yep. But this is the first time, and we already knew this and we've talked about this, but this is the first time, and they're really confirming, making sure everybody knows this part first. Your Nintendo accounts are going to go over. So if you have your online services, everything that goes on with your Nintendo account, that's moving over. You're not restarting.
And Drip, do you know what else will be moving over to the next system?
I do, because it's the next slide.
It's the segue to our next segment as well, which is reveal. The Nintendo Switch software will be playable. I should start over. Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. They have confirmed this is the feature Nintendo's revealed. This is the title and thumbnail of our video. Nintendo has officially announced that every piece of software that you have for the Switch will be able to be moved and playable on the Switch successor.
Right, along with all your online stuff. Everything moves over. This is going to be. This is the system.
Everything.
Yes, this is what they've been missing for a long time. But I think this is the thing. And this the way they talk about what they're doing with their consumers and long-term support relationships with their consumers. I just feel like all this stuff is really showing me that the hybrid system, like this Switch 2, is not the end of I think this is an ongoing. This is it for Nintendo. This hybrid system thing, as much as they went into, look what we did. Look how proud we are, how we took the 3DS and the Wii U and slammed them together. Look at that. Look what happened. We're great. We're awesome. They're going to ride this thing as long as they can.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
until
working.
something happens culturally or in the industry. But not only are they going to keep doing this, they themselves have caused a shift in the industry for others to be doing this, and we're all just waiting for the Microsoft handheld. We're all just waiting for Sony to do. They've already put out the Portal, which is one step there.
We need an actual dedicated
Sony used to be
piece of hardware.
If you remember, if you're old enough, which a lot of you are, you remember the PSP, the PS Vita. Okay,
I had a PSP.
They did that. Sony did that, and they stopped doing it because the industry was different. Nintendo shook the industry, and
it was before. The PSP, the PS Vita was a little before its time.
It's just a matter of time until if the Portal gets so good, which it's not right now. But if it gets so good
that's fine.
that it's like a handheld. But we're all just waiting for the next, for Sony or Microsoft to do their own thing, because the rest of the industry is taking over. Steam Deck is here to stay, and it's going to be playing, bro. It is. They're going to release a Steam Deck 2. It's going to be awesome. ROG Allies insert themselves into as a household name for handheld consoles. They're going to be coming out all the time. Lenovo, out of all freaking people, companies.
Yeah.
Lenovo
all these companies
is in
at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
anybody who's in, and that's the thing about these other companies.
All from the fact that Nintendo made the Switch. None of this would be happening.
And what's crazy is the Nintendo Switch 1 to Nintendo Switch 2, how many iterations of, how many ROG Allies are there? How many are there? Like 2, 3? And what's that other company? What's the other company that they make? They have a new hand. Like they send me emails. There's like a new handheld out like every other.
You're not talking about
freaking month.
Are you?
No,
because
I can't remember who it is.
It's retro stuff. I don't know.
No, I'm not talking about them. Either way, man, they put out so many. There's so many of these things coming out. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. They make the clamshell one.
Yeah.
Dude,
they have so many different versions. I get so many emails from them.
Yeah.
Either way, what I'm saying, my point is, by the time the Switch 2 comes out to whatever the Switch 3 is, like all these other ones are going to have so many like they're going to be moving on and on and on and on and on, which brings me to the point I want to make before we really dive into the Switch backwards compatibility. Is I think with everything that we see here, I think this is, we've talked about this before, I think this is showing more than anything that from this point forward, they are going to be doing what they wanted to do originally in the first place, but couldn't because of COVID. It's going to be small iterations instead of giant.
We had talked about
generational leaps.
Time.
I think all this is what they're saying here and showing what they're showing and seeing what they're so proud of. I think it's very clear at this point, for me anyway, that this is now going to be, I think Switch 1 to Switch 2 is going to be a really big leap. I don't think it would have been that big of a leap if we would have actually got that Switch Pro in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're
Something
right.
that would have been that stopgap. I think from now going for, I think we're going to get that stopgap, and it's not going to be, it's the new Nintendo, this thing called this with this new gimmick. I think they are going to stay on this path and do an iPhone, cell phone style incremental upgrades instead of really just trying to reinvent the wheel every time, because they found something that works. I don't think they're going to go away from it. I think the backwards compatibility, the fact that they're keeping all this stuff now, not only does it go with the times and what everybody else is doing, but like this sets them up to just keep up with people, just to make it better, make it up there. They talk about their third-party partners that are very important to them now. Again, going back to it one more time, we've talked about how many new people they have in charge making decisions for these things now. And we didn't know how they're going to deal with this next release, but I think we're starting to see what's happening here. I think it's going to be a completely different story, and I think it's going to be like a cell phone type thing.
Yeah, I mean, think about like the Switch has been out almost, I keep hitting my mic around. I'm sorry, guys. Switch has been out almost 8 years now. It'll be 8 years in a few more months. Take an 8-year span. Let's take like 96 to 2004. That's an 8-year span, if my math is correct. That's the N64. That's the GameCube. That's the Nintendo DS. That's all of the Game Boys they put out during that time. Advance, Color. I mean, an absolute buttload of systems from that 8-year span. I know it's a different time, but hear me out here. This 8-year span, how many systems they put out? And no, the OLED doesn't really count.
I mean, if you count the OLED,
Yeah,
three,
you know, you have to
all the same
let's count.
insides.
No, Drip. I'm sorry. Let's count the OLED because you had the Game Boy Color during that time period. I think, right? Or was that early? You at least had the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Advance SP.
SP, yeah.
Well, maybe it was a little bit. You get my point, though, people at home. You get my point. There was a lot of systems and iterations during that 8-year span. And this iteration, there was 1, 2, maybe 3. Switch Lite, that counts. Switch Lite, there was 3.
That counts.
Not enough, not nearly enough as far as the way they usually do their business.
I think we were missing one. I think we were missing that one. And I think this was the plan, maybe going the entire time. We just missed that stopgap.
They have
now we're going to start seeing it.
I mean, they have a really good relationship with Tegra. I imagine that's not going to change. They're going to keep iterating their own chips with Tegra. And it's not always going to be chip iteration. If they do a new system, it's going to be screen or...
No, you mean NVIDIA.
Did I say? Yeah, I'm sorry. Not NVIDIA.
Yeah, the Tegra chip. Yeah,
Tegra chip.
Yeah, NVIDIA. Yeah, they've got a 10-year contract with them or something.
Here's not in our notes, but let's talk about this tangent quickly. The Steam Deck, did you know Steam and Valve, who's the company who makes the Steam Deck, they had recently spoke about the Steam Deck 2 and what their plans are.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They're only going to release a Steam Deck 2 when the industry is ready, when there's a new chip available to them to put
something that is actually going to make a difference.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that can actually be in Nintendo's favor in terms of like popularity, sales, potentially even hardware. Because Nintendo has that good relationship with NVIDIA. They can keep within, like, let's say a 5-year span, the Switch could have a couple systems with new chips. Whereas the Steam Deck might not, because they have to wait till leaps and bounds in technology. And it would have to rely on other things, special variants. So
and we're talking about two completely different types of hardware.
Screen changes,
Yeah.
Just something, no real point to what I said, just kind of interesting to think about.
No, it is. You're right. It's very interesting to think about. But I mean, I honestly think that's how this is going to play out. I think we missed one because how long did we talk about that? Like there was going to be a Switch, and it's almost confirmed at this point that they just didn't have the parts.
Yeah,
so the OLED was what we got
you
instead.
and I know at our heart we're right, but as far as the actual facts, as far as like legit rumors and leaks, I mean, we're
there's
like,
a lot of stuff
we're
out
like
there
45 to 70% sure that like absolutely 2021 was the year where they just did not put out. They put out the OLED instead of the Switch Pro.
All right, so we're going to get to backwards compatibility right after this. My final thoughts on all this. I think this right here says not only that the Switch is here to stay for a long, long time, or this type of system, the Switch family, but I think this is their big presentation, their big end of the Switch blowout for their investors. The way this is packaged, the way that this is, the way that this looks, the way that, I mean, they literally went from start to finish and like every single detail of every great thing they've done the entire way. This was such a journey. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like by the time the next investors meeting rolls around, this is not what they're going to be talking about. And that's why they talked about it so heavy like this, in this manner here. Because I feel like probably February is the next time they're going to be doing this. And by that time, I have a really, really strong feeling at this point. It ain't March when we're hearing about this. It's probably going to be early February. And then when they go talk to their investors, they're going to be talking about that and what's going to be happening in 2025.
Only time will tell, Drip. We'll find out if you're right. Maybe we'll cover this later on in the year if there's more information. But yeah, we need to move on to our final topic here, which is, we've already kind of started, which is the backwards compatibility. But again, online, your games, it's all confirmed. It's all coming up to Switch 2. So day one, you don't got to buy any. If there's a day one release for the Switch 2, you don't need to buy it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because there is you have the whole thousands, tens of thousands of Switch library games.
There's going to be more than one. Because I feel like that's another reason they've kind of pushed this back a little bit too, because they want to make sure they have strong software. That's been the rumor. They want strong software to go along with the launch, which makes a lot of sense, especially, I mean, God, if you look at the Switch, we talked about this on the phone the other day. The Switch eShop in the beginning was, it was slim pickings. It was like snipper clips, Bomberman, Breath of the Wild. That was about it. There's a few others, but it was not a lot to choose from. Now, since they're bringing all this over, you're right. If there's nothing there for you and you still want to get a Switch 2 on launch, if you've been waiting, if you're somebody who's like, should I buy a Switch? Should I wait? Like, whatever, I'm just going to wait. Now you're going to have a gigantic library to start out with. But on the other hand, for me, at this point with this information, I don't know about you, but with this information, I feel like this is now like, yeah, fuck it. Buy a Switch. Who cares?
Oh, yeah, man. Like, feel free. I mean,
if you don't have one now, like, buy one. Who gives a shit?
Because there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that. Sorry, I got distracted. There's no guarantees that the Switch 2 is coming out very soon. Like, there's no like it's great to say. It's great to say that in February.
It could be this time next year.
It could be literally like you're not even touching the damn thing until November of 2025. Like, it's
honestly.
There's a real chance that can happen. I don't think any of us want that.
Yeah,
but
I don't want that. But now it feels like it's possible. Yeah.
So like next
especially
year,
since we didn't get an announcement this year. Yeah, I keep pushing it back.
We might get a whole nother year. We might get a whole nother year.
Which is another reason I think that Zelda game where you sail in the sea is going to come to something.
Let's talk about, because we do need to finish up, move on. I'm sure we'll touch this again at some point here.
Yeah.
Number one, Drip and I'm trying to mix this into the conversation somehow, but performance, right? Performance of games, right? So we're getting the games, okay?
Yeah.
But how are these games going to run? Because as we all know,
that's the question.
There's a lot of games on the Switch that don't run good. And if we can call back
even first-party games.
If we call back to the Wii and the Wii U, how they handled that, because that was a backwards compatible system, the Wii U. You could play your Wii games in the Wii U. But the way that they handled it was in the Wii U, there was what is essentially an entire Wii. The chipset, what made the Wii,
was in the Wii U.
And if you're one of the few who had a Wii U, you would know when you played a Wii game, you didn't just play it on, you just did play it like normal. You had to boot into the Wii user interface. 480p and all. Your 1080p console, the first HD antenna console, psych no. You go back into 480p, full Wii experience. You need a nunchuck and everything. Your gamepad doesn't work. Your Pro controller doesn't work. All of it. Just like a Wii. So, what's that mean? That's the last backwards compatible comparison that we have here. So, what does that mean for Switch 2? Now, it would be great. It would be great to say that that's not the case for the Switch 2, and you put your cartridge in, and it's not booting into the old Switch operating system and running it as if it was a Switch. I don't think that's exactly how it would be, but it could be a variation of that. And actually, I think it's likely that you put your cartridge into the Switch 2, your Switch cartridge into the Switch 2, and it runs identically to how it would run on a regular Switch. It would not take,
I really hope that's not the case.
It wouldn't take advantage of the Switch 2's hardware at all. It's just the fact that you can play the games. And here's one big reason why that might be the case for most games, especially third party. Because, Drip, even if the games is supported on the Switch 2, in order to run like a game on the Switch 2, it would either need to be two things. It would either need to have an upgrade path, which you probably would definitely pay for to run the Switch 2, like a full remastered path, like we can see what Sony does with Horizon Zero Dawn remastered and other examples. Or, especially for the third-party stuff on the Switch 2, that developer would need a full patch for Switch 2. It would need a full patch. Now, it already does. Okay, they are third-party stuff. If it's going to run on Switch 2, it's already going to have a developer patch. Like all these developers for their games, if they're promising this pass-through, right? They're promising this pass-through. But the game's going to need a patch to run on Switch 2. It's not a PC, right? It's not a PC, it's a game console.
Right.
So they're going to have to do something to the game to make it run the Switch 2, unless it really is that true same situation where from the Wii U to the Wii, or vice versa, where you just boot into a Switch operating system, the game runs.
See, I feel like at this point, like just as far as we've come with technology and the way that these chips are, especially with what they're using, I feel like, especially since they're using these Tegra chips or whatever the hell this new one's going to be from NVIDIA, I feel like they've already talked about this and got it figured out in a way where it's going to be a more simple process.
Yeah,
I don't see this going back. I really hope. I hope we can go play.
To wrap up my thought, Drip, quickly, I just want to say that I use a PS5 Pro as an example because the PS5 Pro came out, and this is within the same generation. PS5 Pro came out, and only 50 games. That's a lot of games, but mostly first-party Sony stuff. But 50 games have support for the PS5 Pro, meaning they can take advantage of the system's extra hardware. Okay?
Right.
But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that the other games don't work. It just means that
they just don't have anything changed.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
even though the hardware is better.
Yeah. And now that you said that, it actually reminded me of something else too, because Microsoft did the same thing, but they did it with the Xbox One games to the Xbox Series X. It's called Smart Delivery. So if there was a version that was better, it automatically, it read the disc, realized what it was, and would download the patch and then make it run better. So Microsoft did that too. This is very possible to do. That's the big question that's left. I think to really wrap all of this up, this is great. The question that's left is obviously the one we're talking about now. Are these games going to be better? Or are they going to be the same? Hopefully they're better. We're not going to know. But this does give us a lot more freedom at this point to go out and buy Mario and Luigi Brothership and not have to worry about not being able to play the game we just bought on the next system. We know it's going to work.
You don't have any browser remorse. You can feel confident.
And this lets Nintendo also go throughout this next year and keep announcing games for the Switch, because it doesn't matter, because they're going to play on the next thing. They've given themselves the window now to put out, a whole nother year's worth of shit if they want to take this Switch 2 thing over to holiday 2025. They've given the consumer now at least enough to say, buy it. You're going to be able to play it even if you want to go there. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Which, that's great. For me, that's a lot. I feel a lot more comfortable buying Switch games now, because I haven't in a while, except for Zelda. Obviously, I'm buying that. But I did want to get Brothership, but I was kind of like, do I even want to worry about it? Now I'm going to buy it.
I'm just worried.
I'm definitely going to get it now.
The only thing I'm worried about is that last point I made is that, the games are playable, but I'm just worried if I buy, let's say you haven't bought Witcher 3 yet in Switch, you're waiting for better hardware to run it, and you want Nintendo hardware. Okay. You're not going to buy Steam Deck. You're not going to buy anything else. So you're waiting for Nintendo hardware. Okay, whatever. If you're that person, which there are some of those people out there, probably a lot. If you buy that Witcher 3 version and you go to put it into your Switch 2 and it runs the same as it ran on the Switch and you've wasted time, it's a bummer. And they could say either, well, that's the way it is, we're not patching it. Or they could go, oh, well, here's a $10 upgrade, which would be great. Or they can go all together. Nah, we're just going to sell a whole Switch 2 version of The Witcher 3, and you're going to pay full price for that.
And that's going to be up to the developers and the companies what they want to do. We're going to see probably both sides of that. I think it's going to be some of that.
There's very few Nintendo games that's a problem with, like first-party stuff.
Right.
There are a few.
There's a few Zeldas I can think of for sure.
Well, Breath of the Wild, I know I would love to play in 60 FPS. Don't need it.
Well, you're getting it.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Sorry.
I would like better resolution for Tears of the Kingdom instead of this variable bullshit. I don't think we need it. It's really more like Hyrule Warriors, Pokemon,
Age of Calamity. Yeah,
name your Pokemon. Okay.
No, dude, Pokemon. It's not even the frame. Like, dude, just start over. Like, just make a good Pokemon game. Just make it look good and run. Yeah, no, okay.
There's no fixing Pokemon Scarlet Violet. You can't.
No,
the textures are
fine.
wrong.
Just leave it there.
Wrong.
Don't even waste time on it. Just focus on the next one. You'll do better next time. You can do it.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Good job, Game Freak. You're doing great. Keep up the good work.
They're true to the name. Drip freaks over there.
I'm just glad I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I'd just be so sour about that.
Yeah. I have a theory quickly before we wrap this up. I wrote this down earlier. First party should be no problem as far as Nintendo Switch games, right? On Switch 2.
Okay.
But this could be the reason it's taking so long for the next console. That's my theory, is that they're getting ready, not only all the first party stuff to be day one ready, Switch 2 patched, but also a lot of third parties are probably working with to get
or
this
at least
done.
A big chunk of those things.
I wonder, I just, this is completely my speculation here. I'm just wondering if that could have anything to do with this delayed launch. Is that on day one, they told their investors all the software is moving over. On day one, like how Sony's releasing this PlayStation 5 Pro, day one is only 50 games. Actually, I think it was smaller and quickly updated to 50. I'm not sure, but either way,
yeah,
that's still a small
well,
list.
I mean, you're talking about almost 100 first-party games for Nintendo, maybe more.
I wonder if this is part of the deal with why it's taking so long, is that at least, the very least, all the first-party Nintendo published games need to be Switch 2 patched. So on day one, you put your cartridge in, it's a better experience.
Could you imagine? Like, that would be crazy. Like, man, you couldn't ask for something better. Like,
I don't know. And it could be a good thing or bad thing. I don't know. But, like,
that would be great.
It's mostly a good thing. I mean, it would be great. But, like,
even if
it causes a year delay.
Okay. But, and I don't even care if it's like, it doesn't have to be like 4K. Like, just slight everything runs the way it's supposed to run. Like, there's no shitty frame rate problems.
Yeah.
There's no, you know what I mean? There's no variable frame rate. There's no, 480p bullshit. If it says it's 720, it runs at 720. If it says it's 1080, it runs at 10. It doesn't need to be like, who cares? But if they can get everything just put to the way it's supposed to be, the highest it could have been on the Switch, it runs that on the Switch too. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. So Nintendo told us the biggest feature of the Switch 2, and that is backwards compatibility. And what that means for the future, other than the obvious that there will be backwards compatibility, only time will tell, Drip. But we gave you guys our thoughts, and now it's time for you guys to give us your thoughts in our comment section, because not only is this podcast over, but the live stream is going to be over as well. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Yes.
We're so glad to be in your home tonight, or on your daily commute, whether you're watching at your home on YouTube Live, or you're watching on your listening on your podcast app of choice. We appreciate you guys. Drip, where can people find you as far as the internet's concerned?
YouTube.com/Multimedia Gaming.
I know you're in West Virginia, but I mean, don't give us your address.
Yeah, I'm usually just on the internet.
Down the street from Sheets somewhere.
Yeah, I live close to Sheets. Yeah, there's a Sheets. Yes, there's a Sheets. Yes.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/Multimedia Gaming. The rest of the places don't matter.
I'm Uncle Jeeb on Twitch and every social media platform. You can watch me on Twitter complain about everything from the world, politics, sports, and video games. But mainly come to my Twitch streams. I have a good time over there. And I got a YouTube channel as well. Go check it out.
Yay.
Switch 2 is releasing Friday, December 20th. Just announced. That's what Coffee's Game says. Coffee's Games, there's places for trolls, and it's not here. So, sayonara, buddy. And to Reason Hearts 69, nice. What's going on? We're making a podcast, and now we're ending that podcast. So thank you guys for joining. And we're going to see you guys next week.
Later.